stream. This is all about typing. I'm just going to be doing a lot of typing, as I said. We are at the point of the semester where we have a lot of papers coming up, working on a lot of study guides. So we are starting with my public administration study guide since that class was yesterday. To transcribe my notes into a document to just make sure my notes are like accessible and more understandable. Good morning, King of the Weather. How are you doing? Good morning, David. Glad you could tune in. This live stream is all about typing, so that means for the most part, you're gonna get like typing ASMR content, but definitely feel free to leave a comment. Would love to know how's your day going. Do you guys have any plans for the day? But let us get into the typing. You're still sleeping, King of the Weather, understandable. Good morning. Is that easy 24? My phone is far away, so I'm so sorry if I didn't see your username fully. But good morning 24. Glad you could tune in. Ow, my back hurts. And my mom sent me a massager, so if you hear something that sounds like a robot or something, or like mechanic, I have the massager on and I'm getting a back massage while I type on my computer. So that's what you're hearing in the background. Okay, glad I got your name right. Glad you're doing good, King of the Weather. You're getting ready for work easy? Okay, well, I hope you have an amazing day at work. It is Friday, so if you don't work on weekends, that should be your motivation to just get through the day. Then you get to chillax on the weekends, hopefully. Oh, that's really early, King of the Weather. Hopefully you get some sleep. 4 a.m. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Uniquely Mia here. I am typing on my computer, so this live stream is mostly about ASMR typing content. So if you guys want to see how fast I can type or hear my keyboard moving, make sure to hit that like button and do consider becoming a supporter. Good morning, Minnie. Glad you could tune in. Let me bring my phone closer. I cannot see anything. I want you guys to see my hand though. Okay. King of the Weather said at least I can watch the stream. Don't know what you're saying. David said your nails look so beautiful. Your nails are manicured, but the ladies don't like dirty nails. Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, your job's pretty mechanical. Okay. In your cell said type faster, go Mia, go faster. I do type fast sometimes, but sometimes what I've noticed with my writing, I could write a lot. But if I type too fast, I make a lot of typos. And this is a study guide I'm working on. I'm making like a makeshift study guide for the final exam as I go. So I work on the study guide after class every day. So, and I generally don't reread my study guides. Like, I'm bad at rereading my own work, editing it. I'm really good at writing. Not to say I like editing other people's work. But when it comes to my work, I guess I spend so long writing 8-10 pages, sometimes 20 pages worth of content. I don't want to sit down and reread my work. So sometimes I have to type kind of slow so that way I can make the least amount of edits possible. Oh, you woke up at that time, King of the Weather? Okay. Easy said, I think I'm changing my name to Uniquely. I can't even see that. Sorry, my phone is positioned in a weird way. I can't see what you typed fully. Welcome. Is that Isabel? Glad you could tune in. Hello, Aiden. Good morning. How are you doing? I'm doing productive. That doesn't make sense. I'm being productive this morning. Right now I'm typing on my computer. So this is mostly a typing stream for you guys. I'm not going to be talking too much, but ow, my back. But I'm just thinking. Let's see. Aiden said, sorry, can't watch now. You're at the door. Okay. Oh, you're at the doctor. I hope everything is okay. So just some routine asthma checkup. Okay. I hope nothing's too serious. Massager isn't the best. I mean, sometimes I have knots in my back and it does take, like, I guess, loosen up my back, but it's not the best. So my mom sent me this. So I do 15 minutes. Well, 15 minutes just ended, so technically I do maybe like 30 minutes, 35. And I always put it on high. Sometimes I just did my full back. I think I'm just going to transition to, should I leave out my upper back? No, I'll do my full back still. Good morning, Louisiana. How are you doing? Good morning from Bolton Rogue. Did you sleep well? Joy's you feeling? Yes, I slept well. Thank you for asking. What about you? King of the Weather said good morning, Louisiana. Oh, thank you. Glad you like my nail color. I'm changing it this weekend, so soak up everything. This is why I don't like doing bright colors sometimes. I write so much, pen marks gets on my nails. And I've noticed something with my nail polish. Maybe I need new nail polish for some reason. It's been getting dirty, if that makes sense, because my nail, as you can see, like before in the past, anytime I did my nails, it always stayed shiny, but for some reason, it's getting like, you see that's not normal. I don't know how to describe it. It's getting dirty, if that makes sense. So I think that means my nail polish is old. So I think I need new nail polish. Yes, it is 7:33 a.m. in New York. Good morning, No. Glad you could tune in. David said, I'm so old. I remember the Mavis. Beacon program in school. Oh, wow. You had to, oh, I don't know what that is. Okay. So, I mean, well, I guess when computers first emerged, people didn't really know how to use it, but not a lot of people. I feel like they shouldn't have taken away in those classes because still, I know a lot of people my age sometimes or younger than me, they don't know how to type properly. Or it's not to say they don't know how to type properly. Yeah, they don't know how to type properly. So, I feel like those classes are still beneficial today. I've just spent my high school life was mostly on my computer writing a lot of papers, so that's why if you think I'm good at typing, I've been on my computer using my computer to type for a long time. Before I used to type with one hand. It was my high school that taught me how to type with two hands. So I did go through that class in a way, but it wasn't that official name. My high school just labeled it as maybe like, I don't know, technology class or like maybe an orientation type class, but it wasn't labeled as like a proper typing class because I know I used to type with my one hand. And I went to high school and they put me in this class. I think it was like one lesson, and I started typing with both hands. Let me write this idea and then I'll do it down. Public. King of the Weather said, can I tell you the story of my weather radio woke me up? Sure. David said my aunt was a typist in a government office. Typing is almost like playing the piano using every finger. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. So maybe I can play the piano. That's what you're saying. Louisiana said, class ring, match your nail color. Yes, it does. My favorite color, I guess. Can you guys guess what my favorite color is? This isn't my birthstone. Normally, you get your birthstone. I mean, this is my birthstone, the blue one, but I wanted my favorite color for this one. King of the Weather said, right now it's Friday. Yes, it is. King of the Weather said, so my spring. Oh, yeah, your spring break is almost over. Well, go back to school. End of semester strong. Now you'll have summer break. That's all you gotta hope time moves fast for summer break. But it's going to take so long for summer break to get here, guys. And as soon as summer break comes, it's going to go really fast. I don't know why it's like that. It always sucks, but that's what happens. It takes forever for it to come. And then when it comes, by the time you look, you have to go back to school again. So, yeah. King of the Weather said, I'm just going to tell the story. Okay. David said 40 words per minute is considered average, while 60 to 70 is considered productive. I want to time myself. I know they have the websites where you could like see how many words you could type in a minute. Maybe I'll do it one day. King of the What? Not King of the Weather. King said, hi, Mia. Good morning. Good morning, King. Hope you're doing well as well. Have a blessed day as well. Thank you so much for your kind words. King of the Weather said, so I was sleeping around 3:10 p.m. Get woken up on my weather radio. Previously said it was a test. Had to be postponed because of a severe weather, and it was a severe thunderstorm watch. Oh, wow. Well, your weather definitely woke you up, so glad your weather was like your news station to warn you about that. And I know you did say in my comment section of the video that the thunderstorm passed over you, so glad you're safe. What is this? This is fundamentals. Okay, so now I can get into the core of the study guide now. The whole idea behind this is connecting concepts learned in class to concepts read in the textbook. wait, so let me see. Internal factors. Wait, am I? Let me see. Okay, let's write about this. I'm gonna say something. What were you guys saying? King said, I'm walking into work now. I will catch you later. Have a great weekend. Oh, same to you, King. Have a great day at work. King of the Weather said, we did not have nothing. Wait, it was for the following county. Oh, it was for the following counties. Okay, okay. The thunderstorm warning. David said 1 week into spring and my sinuses are really driving me crazy. Oh, you have allergies? So like the pollen and stuff, it doesn't mix with you? King of the Weather said Wednesday. What is that? We're supposed to get hit. Tornadoes, but it was sunny. Oh wow, so it was a false warning. Okay. David said, but I shouldn't complain. There's people dying in earthquakes other side of the world right now. Well, that's really sad. Well, hopefully they're safe. Natural disasters are terrible. But as humans, we always find something to complain about. So don't feel bad for complaining about your sinuses. There's nothing wrong with that, honestly. I mean, that just shows us, I guess, to be more appreciative of, I guess, our lived experiences compared to other individuals. But as humans, guys, we're always going to find a desire to advance or complain or not be happy with something. So don't feel bad about complaining, even if it's something minor. Just make sure that you complain, but also feel like be appreciative of what you have too, or where you're at. King of the Weather said, including my county, Oregon. Oh, all those counties were under severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, but nothing hit. Okay, so that's good. Welcome to the stream. If you've just joined, please consider liking the video, hitting that support/subscribe button. This live stream is mostly ASMR typing videos. So for the most part, I'm not going to be ignoring you guys in the comment section. I am reading your comments, but there's going to be a little bit of a delay in doing that. I need my neck and my back to be cracked, guys, because this is not good at all. Let me read this. Let me read your comments before I move on to this next section that I'll be drafting ideas about. What did King of the Weather say? It was in the severe thunderstorm watch. It was nothing too crazy. It wasn't for the if it wasn't for the weather radio, to save my life. What are you guys saying? You would not be here today. I think the weather radio definitely helped in warning you, King of the Weather, but I don't think it saved your life. I think it helped warn you. But glad everything is good with you. Drake said, good morning, Drake. Glad you could tune in. The one guy is missing out on on a hand thing. Oh, what is it? Eric. Yeah, that's Eric. Eric said they like when they like my ring, so they like when I type and show my hand and type, but they can watch the recording. So Eric, if you're watching the recording, feel free to leave a comment. Hopefully you have an amazing day today, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Same to everyone else. Glad you guys could tune in this morning. Hope you guys are gonna have a productive day today. I like to decided to tune on. I know sometimes throughout the week I was looking at my videos. I saw it maybe at least once a week. I think I do live streams like this where you guys see me type, and you guys, some people seem to like it. So I guess I'll try to go live at least once a week where you guys only see my hands and I'm typing. So I guess Friday is that day to do that. And that's Friday. I think most live streams when I'm typing and I show you guys, it's commonly a Friday because I tend to work on my study guides on a Friday where I'm just literally transcribing what I have in my notebook. I'm literally like writing it on my laptop and connecting it to other concepts that I've read through like in my textbook chapters and like course readings, things like that. Oh, it's a joke, King of the Weather. Okay. Yes, you did get me. Drake said, Mia, don't encourage him. Hello, Terrifier. How are you doing? Yes, I am doing all right. How are you doing? Right now I wouldn't necessarily say I'm studying per se, but like I'm working on a study guide for public administration, and similar to like my study guide that I had to work on for my midterm for public administration, the professor doesn't give us a list of questions. He's saying, make sure you study this. He doesn't do that. So what I did worked for the midterms, and like hopefully it works to the final. And what I essentially did was I literally wrote like a whole essay about all the concepts that we went over in class, and I connected all the information to other information that I learned. So I'm essentially doing that for the final since it worked for the midterm. So we'll see if it works again. So it's like I'm giving myself work. I know a lot of you guys asked if I have homework. In grad school, we don't have homework. If you have homework, that means you're behind. If you're behind, that's not good for your grade. So what I give myself, I like to call it work ahead work, because I don't have to do the study guide. I'm choosing to do the study guide. So yeah. Ow. And my neck hurts and my back hurts really bad. I feel like if I just move my neck, if I like stretch my neck, it's gonna crack, but I'm scared to do it. But my neck needs to be cracked, and like my back, I just feel like if I could crack it, it would just feel so much better. I think I'm gonna have to start doing yoga though, guys, because I don't understand this. I mean, I know I sit down a lot because I have to do my schoolwork, but this is crazy. My back has never, or my back has never felt the need to be cracked before. So I don't know. Drake said I'm over here tripping out like I know that ring. Oh, yeah, I need a ring guard. The thing about it though, the reason why I haven't put a ring guard on for some of my rings, especially this one, is because I think it was in December, November, my mom gave me a ring guard and I did put it on this finger, and I'm not lying. I was literally sleeping and my finger, it felt so swollen. Because your finger changes size, guys. And I know in the summertime, my fingers are going to get bigger. I don't know why. I think they said it's because in the summertime, your body's warmer. So I guess your body expands, if that makes sense. It doesn't necessarily expand, but I guess my idea behind it is in the wintertime, my hands are freezing. If I'm freezing, my hands are freezing. So my finger size, it gets smaller. However, I know in the summertime, I don't know, either because it's hot. So like I'm eating like more ice cream when I go outside sometimes if it's accessible, or I think it's just because the heat makes your body or your fingers get bigger, if that makes sense. So my fingers in the summertime is always bigger, and in the wintertime it's always smaller, so my rings tend to like want to fall off my hand. But literally I had to take off ring guard because I had one and I was sleeping, and my fingers were, this finger was literally squeezing with the ring guard on. So after that I'm like, you know what, I can't do it. So that's why this hand has 2 rings, because I need a ring guard for this one. But now I don't even like it with this one ring, so I think I'm just always going to be wearing it like this from now on, because when I take it off, it looks weird to me. But yeah, I need ring guards. So you're not seeing things, Drake. It does that intentionally. And then I moisturize my hand for my nails, so my hands are slippery, so that's going to take it off even more. And then the person who made the ring, he made it too big. So I don't know what he was doing when he was making my ring, but I measured my finger correct. This was supposed to be a pinky ring. And this is nowhere thing. But I do think it's the shape of the ring too. The shape probably gave it extra size, if that makes sense. You didn't, well, try and look at your fingers. If you live in a cold place, Drake, try to go outside and like see, put on a ring. Who emailed me? And see if you're try to measure your finger, jot it down in your notes saying, okay, this ring fits me exact in the wintertime, or it fits me a little loose in the wintertime. And then when the summer comes, Drake, see if your ring feels tight on you, on your fingers. So that's just my experience. And then maybe you guys probably don't experience that. Like, this isn't a generalization. This is just my experience with my fingers, what happens to me. So some of you guys, you may not experience that. But for me, I have noticed that happens to me. And then generally too, that, like I said, I probably do gain more weight in the summertime because I am home. At least, well, not always. Last year was the first summer I was home in like 4 years, where I actually spent the full summer at home. So last year, I was really eating a lot because I was with my mom and I had access to food and good food. So that could have been it too. I was just eating more food, so I was gaining a little bit more weight. So my fingers were expanding as normal when I'm at school. If I eat, I don't eat all 3 meals a day because the food's not good. So I guess I'm losing weight via that. So that could just be me and my weight fluctuating. So like I said, don't generalize that, but test it out and see, and let me know in the summer if it happens to you or not, if you remember. Oh yeah, Komori is typing. The weather said, hello Komori, good morning, glad you're awake and you're not sleeping today. Okay, let's get back into the typing, guys. All right. This thing went out again. Let's do my upper back really hurts, but we'll do my lower back for this one. Hey, Christina. Oh man, hopefully this thing doesn't break. Good morning, Christina. Glad you could tune in today. You know what I'm gonna do? This is a study guide. I'm going to copy and paste what the textbook says because I feel like I'm paraphrasing, but I also feel like I'm not. Sometimes when I take notes, which is really bad, don't take notes like this. When you take notes, make sure you include the quotations because I feel like I literally wrote everything that the textbook said, word for word, but I didn't paraphrase it. So now I'm typing this out, and I feel like I'm going to be plagiarizing. So to avoid that, let me paraphrase this. Let me copy and paste the full quote in. It's okay. It's going to be a long quote. It's going to be fine. Okay, here it is. Yeah, let's just copy and paste. And then later on, another day after I finish typing everything that I want in, I'll go back and I could try and paraphrase it since this is a very long quote and I don't like quotes that are this long. This is like a paragraph worth of quotes. Perform while in the while also catering. To cater to the diverse workforce. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. Okay, what are you guys saying? Good morning, Christina. King of the Weather said, anyway, let's do my news report. Let's do King of the Weather news report. Breaking news. Hello, welcome, Simic. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I mean, woke up. Nothing bad has happened yet today. Hopefully nothing bad happened today. Nothing good has happened today. So I'm in between, honestly. What about you? King of the Weather said, flash flood warning. When I say nothing good, that always excludes live streaming because you guys know I do enjoy live streaming for you guys. So I'm speaking outside of the live streaming sector. King of the Weather said flash flood warning in parts of deep South Texas. So if you're in deep South Texas, guys, stay safe. We don't want you getting flooded in. If you could swim, don't go outside anyway, okay? That's going to be some dirty water you're going to be swimming in. So stay in your house. Go to higher ground. If you can't get to higher ground, evacuate. And if you can't evacuate and you can't get to higher ground, pray really hard. The concept of diversity in managing employees. This thing is really hot. I feel like I should turn off this heat. It's not burning my back, but it's psyching me out. I don't know. Hey, cats and Pokemon, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you. Glad you like my hands. Cats and Pokemon said, work has been really hard. I'm actually getting ready for work, a work event now. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, Cats and Pokemon. I do hope work doesn't become hard anymore. And if it's hard and you don't like the organization, let's hope you can change organizations where you're going to be much more happier. So, well, good luck, Cats and Pokemon. You're going to slay the work event, as Unique Lumia said. So have a great time, and hopefully they have free food. I mean, like when I go to work events, I go for the free stuff. Honestly, sometimes they have free stuff, sometimes they don't. It's always better when they have free stuff. So let's hope they have some free stuff for you to get. King of the Weather said, then again, sometimes the food is not good. So sometimes the free stuff is honestly a failure. King of the Weather said, over the next 12 to 24 hours in the deep South Texas, 6 to 12 inches of rain have fallen. Wow, that is a lot. Peace, Stew Lover Kitchen. Yes, I agree. Cats and Pokemon, that's a lot of rain. King of the Weather said, yeah, I know. King of the Weather said, where you live, Cats and Pokemon, just curious. Massachusetts, not bad. Have I ever been to Massachusetts? I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea, guys. That's in Boston, right? Cats and Pokemon said, yeah, I organized the work event. So after that, things should go back to. Okay, so it's just been hectic because, like, or yeah, I understand that. That's like RA shift moving. I mean, I never organize moving, but I have to work moving and move out. Those are the dreaded parts of the job. It's just so much happening. However, I mean, it's fun, but it's also just a lot. So yeah, after that, things generally slow down. So that, totally understand that, Cats and Pokemon. King of the Weather said there's an ice storm warning for parts of Michigan. Stay safe if you're in Michigan. We don't want you freezing. Cats and Pokemon said, I also hate being social at work events because I work from home. Okay, so seeing them in person. I'm an introvert. Yeah, I understand that. Cats and Pokemon say, King of the Weather, I'm going to be in Georgia in September. I've never been, so I don't know the weather will be. It can't still be hot in September, right? Warm is okay, but I hate heavy rain. Well, we have our own King of the Weather news report. So what's the weather going to be like in September, possibly in Georgia, King of the Weather? I understand that part, being an introvert and not being social. I mean, me, I don't know. I don't know if I'm an introvert. I feel like, yeah, I am kind of. Yeah, I'm an introvert. But like the thing about it, I put myself in uncomfortable situations. So I feel like, and I think when you get a job, you just have to like force yourself to be a little bit extroverted. So like me, I like to describe myself when I'm in public, when I'm in class sometimes, well, not even in class, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm out somewhere off campus and I'm just walking around, I'm an introvert. I'm not going to walk up and like speak to a random person. If I'm in an amusement park, I'm an introvert. I'm not going to walk up and speak to a random person. But I feel like when I'm in the academic setting, in the world of academia, and for me, the world of academia is like on campus, generally, I try to force myself to be an extrovert because I have positions on campus that require for me to be an extrovert. So just put yourself in a difficult or uncomfortable situations, guys. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like what helps, I think with introverts, 9 times out of 10, what makes us nervous to speak to random people sometimes is because, at least for me, it's like sometimes when I speak to random people, I'm like, why am I speaking to the person? Like, I feel like in the back of my head, I have no grounds. Like, not saying you don't have no grounds to speak to this person, but I feel like it's just kind of weird. But I feel like in, like, my academic setting, like, if I have a presentation in class or if I'm at work and I'm, like, being an extrovert and I'm speaking to, like, a group of my residents, I'm finding comfort in saying, I know what I'm talking about. So I guess for me, I like being an extrovert if I know what I'm talking about. I feel like some people, they're introverts, or some people, they're extroverts and they're just speaking, but they don't know what they're talking about, if that makes sense. I've seen people like that. They're just talking and you're saying the most random stuff that makes no sense. But other people who I like being the extrovert, when I say stuff, it makes sense and I have valid justification to be an extrovert. If I don't have anything valid to say, sometimes I'm not saying it. But yeah, I'm in between two. And then it depends on who you're around to be an extrovert or an introvert, guys. Let's see. Okay. Management and then management in the workplace. Oh yeah, so the more of the story was I just got distracted, cats and Pokemon. That moral of like my opinion on introverts and extroverts, don't be nervous because you said you planned the event, so that means you know what you're talking about. And you probably be like the most qualified person to know, apart from like your manager, unless you're the manager, then you're probably the most qualified person who knows everything about the topic. So people's going to be coming to you to ask questions. So don't feel nervous to be speaking to people, because if you're nervous, it's a work event, and they're probably nervous too because it's still in a professional setting and it's not like a fun event where you can ignore people and do stuff like that. 81 degrees in September. Cats and Pokemon said that's good advice. Thanks for the first positivity. You're welcome, Cats and Pokemon. Cats and Pokemon said, okay, 81 isn't too bad. Thanks. There's a reason you're the king. Cats and Pokemon said that's true. I didn't think about that way. Yeah, exactly. And then if you ever get nervous, like there's always ways to end the conversation. You can make up excuses. You could be like, like if you're speaking to somebody you don't want to talk to them anymore, just be like, just excuse yourself. Like you have to go to the restroom, or like maybe set an alarm on your phone for like a certain time. Like set an alarm on your phone. Not saying that I do it. I may or may not do it sometimes. I don't think I ever did it before, but it's a good idea. If you want to get out of situations, you could just set an alarm on your phone for maybe like 30 minutes or an hour. And when the alarm rings, make sure your phone volume is loud. And you could be like, oh, I have like an important meeting I gotta take, when the important meeting is you getting out of there. I've never done that, but like it just came to my head, and that seems like a good idea to get out of places you don't want to be. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I've never done it, so I don't know. It just came into my head. Let's see. Management in the workplace. And now that we're in the concept of work events and things like that, I'll tell you some insight into public administration of what was learned yesterday. So, guys, diversity in the workplace, based on, obviously, diversity in the workplace is important. My professor, though, like, I realize some of the professors, they're very subjective. Subjective in grading, subjective in, like, teaching you concepts in class. So what I'm about to tell you is literally just what my professor lectured about yesterday in class. And in my opinion, it's his interpretation of organizations and the organizational views of diversity. But I agree with it, and I kind of don't agree with it. So I feel like it's very interesting. So I think if you guys were in a previous live stream and I was typing, I spoke about the concept of diversity. I think I spoke about bureaucracy for you guys. Bureaucracy, essentially a concept within organizations. It's a form of management, and it's saying there's a clear hierarchy that exists. So let's look at my organization that I work in Housing and Residence Life, or even like I always use Housing and Residence Life. Let's use my GRE position, right? So let's say my GRE position, right? I have a direct supervisor or professor who I directly report to. So I know that I'm reporting only to her. That's a hierarchy, right? And if I'm not going to go around her and report to or ask her, like the department head of criminal justice, even though I can do that because I have her contact information. I'm not going to go above my direct supervisor and speak to the department head of criminal justice about a task that my supervisor sent me to do. Why? Because that would be violating the hierarchy that exists in a bureaucracy, right? So yesterday in class, we were essentially, you could say, learning about the concept of diversity in the workplace, like the different approaches to diversity. And let's say, obviously, we know diversity based on skin color, based on your race, based on your gender, based on your religion or sexual orientation, invisible disabilities, mobility status, things like that. So diversity in the workplace can look like anything, right? But one interesting thing that my professor said, and then obviously with the media, they have a lot of concerns, justly so, about like how diverse will organizations now be in like the workplace with the media and recent laws and things that has been passed. But we're not going to get into that. So one thing my professor said yesterday, he's like, diversity in the workplace is very important, and it's important. Diversity in the workplace, even though it's important, it can cause conflict to emerge, because especially like if managers don't like conflict to emerge, because if managers do good at their job, well, let's say this, if managers don't do good at their job and they just hire individuals based on what they look like in different backgrounds, but if they don't have opportunities for these employees to like collaborate, speak to each other, and engage in conflict. According to him, conflict is good in an organization because it allows employees to share their thinking and to approach and to come to solutions to solve workplace problems using their own lived experiences and tied to organizational goals. So he essentially said a bad manager, you're not going to make opportunities for conflict, and you're not going to make opportunities where these employees can communicate with each other. And therefore, what's the point of diversity then? So that makes sense to me. So I agree with that part of what he said. However, one thing that he did say, he didn't say it directly, but it was implicitly applied. And then when I had to ask him a clarifying question in class about it, and he essentially said, yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. So his point that he was essentially trying to make, in a bureaucracy, guys, the goal is to improve efficiency and productivity. That is the goal of bureaucracy. Whether you're in a government, more so in a private sector, that private sectors, they want a bureaucracy. They want to improve efficiency, productivity, because that means more money is coming in to the organization and more output is present from employees. But to do that, according to public administration and according to my professor, you have to change the personality of your employees. You have to change the thinking of your employees to mirror one that is in line with the organization. So when you do that, I asked him essentially, I'm like, okay, so my question to him was something in terms of this. Okay, so according to you, my question, I phrased it, so based on what you just said to the professor, Dr. H, okay, Dr. H, you said this. So does this mean diversity is just an image in organizations if the ultimate goal is to change the thinking of employees so they all think similarly? So that way efficiency and productivity is like improved, or the goal? And he essentially said, yes, that's the goal. So like that part was just really interesting to me. So obviously diversity is important in an organization. You want diverse people in an organization because it opens doors for people who are marginalized and just like creates fair opportunities for everyone in society. However, if you think about that concept that he mentioned and my question saying that diversity is just an image that organizations have because the ultimate goal is to improve productivity, and the way that productivity is improved is by changing the personalities of employees so that they follow in accordance to the organization's personality and goals. That's just really interesting. I mean, I don't agree with him on that. I agree with him, but I don't. That concept to me was really iffy, seeing diversity as just an image, but it was just interesting. I wanted to share that with you. And I think I did share that with you too, because we're going to get into the theories of diversities next. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Did that make sense what I said? Sometimes I speak and the ideas make sense in my head, but then sometimes I don't know if it translates well for you guys. But essentially the core of it is him saying that diversity is just an image in the workplace, because a good manager, if you're not creating opportunities for conflict where each employee can communicate their ideas effectively using their diverse backgrounds, there's no point of diversity because you're just hiring these employees for an image. But then even if you create those opportunities where employees can use their own diverse backgrounds to come to solutions, in bureaucracies and like private sector organizations, they want to have their employees adopt this personality of completing their tasks according to how the organization wants them to complete their tasks, thus changing the personalities so all employees are the same, so there's no diversity there. Yeah, that was better. Yeah, that was much better, to like more refined in communicating. So let me see what you guys said really quickly before I get to typing again. Hey Holly, good morning. How are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you could tune in. Cats and Pokemon said this channel is like a mug of warm dopamine coffee. Oh, thank you so much. If you guys don't know, guys, dopamine is just a natural drug that, it's not even a drug. It's just a natural hormone that occurs in your body when you're happy, okay? So dopamine is good. So don't think it's bad or anything. King of the Weather said, Holly, good morning. I'm just doing my weather report. Yes. Cats Pokemon saying, good morning, Holly. Sounds, yes, it does sound like assimilation. And that's what it is, cats and Pokemon. You're ahead of me. Okay, nice. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that discussion a little later, cats and Pokemon. So, yes, that's essentially what it is. And when you're hired to a new organization, they want you to adopt the organizational culture and the organizational beliefs and practices. And the way that is done is via assimilation. So, for me, or like, as RAs, when I was first hired, my first year ever as an RA, they tried, I won't say they tried, but like they put me in a form of assimilation, and that was their week long of RA training. So every week, like every year, new RAs, when they're hired, they have to go through a week of like RA training from like 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're just around RAs. You're just around housing supervisors, and they're throwing information at you and you're communicating with other RAs. That's a form of assimilation, orientation meetings, things like that. So yeah, it is like that. Cats and Pokemon said, why can't diversity help improve productivity? I think yes, it does. I do agree with that. That's a good question, because the goal of diversity, guys, based on like the lecture yesterday and just like my personal opinions of diversities, for one, there's multiple goals of diversity, but for me, the main two, I think, the first goal of diversity in organizations is to create diversity in organizations and to make and to allow marginalized communities. And when I say marginalized, underrepresented communities that were historically not given access to stuff. So this includes African Americans, Hispanic individuals, Latino individuals, you can say Arab individuals. Essentially, in the history of America is a Caucasian/white history, you could say. So the goal of diversity in the government and organizations, guys, is to create opportunities for non-white individuals to enter workforces, to enter academic settings, to enter settings that they weren't previously allowed to enter. So that's the main goal. The second goal of diversity in organizations, according to public administration, in my opinions, is, as Cats and Pokemon said, the goal is to help improve productivity in organizations. But managers are the people who set like the goals of organizations and who create opportunities in organizations. So an example of that, to make it more understandable for you guys to see, and for myself, because I'm not sure if I'm communicating this effectively or easily understandable for you guys, you can say, let's see, according to the second goal, as Cats and Pokemon said, to improve productivity. Let's look at my RA position. I've gone through three different supervisors as an RA, just because individuals have left the position. So new people have come in. So like my first RA supervisor, they created opportunities for us to communicate in like roundtable discussions, you can say, on what's not working in the organization. How can we approach this? What can we do for you? I have had other supervisors who don't create those opportunities. They just say, this is what you have to do. This is how you're going to do it. Opportunities for opinions, engagements, for us to bring our own critical thinking on how to solve problems or how to solve these difficulties were not made available to us. So those are different forms of ways on how managers approach leadership styles with their employees. And according, as Cats and Pokemon said, diversity, the goal of diversity, the second goal of diversity for me is for managers to create opportunities where employees should use their own personal backgrounds as well as their education and their own unique insights to solve problems. So like that. Seed Lover Kitchen said, your professor makes sense, because if I'm trying to sell a product, I want people to have, a similar mindset to sell more products, to make more money. Yeah, that's exactly what he meant. And that's exactly what he meant. And that's like the goal of a bureaucracy, as Steel Lover Kitchen said. So for me though, like I agree with my professor in that aspect. However, I guess just the way he articulated it, or the way my brain understood it when he was saying that and I asked him the question, and this is tying back to other concepts that I've learned prior to the midterm that you guys probably don't have access to, because I don't think I've ever done a live stream where I went into like a mini in-depth discussion of public administration. You guys aren't going to be aware of this. Some of you may. But like, I'm essentially saying when you look at diversity the way he said it, and when you look at the goal of organizations, they kind of cross over. And when they cross, I feel like if they cross over incorrectly, that's where diversity doesn't matter, if that makes sense, or there's no point of it. But if they cross over correctly, then it matters, if that makes sense. So honestly, it all relates back to the management style that you have, or the type of manager. You can tell the difference between a really good manager and a really bad manager. And that's what makes the difference between increasing organizations' output and ensuring that diversity in organizations are respected too. Cats and Pokemon said, I have to write these ideas down. Maybe I'll just rewatch the live and take my ideas. I feel like that's sometimes why I speak to you guys on the live stream about this, because like some of the ideas are really helpful for me to articulate so I can write it down in my study guide. So yeah, I'll have to probably do that, watch the live stream to get my ideas back. Cats and Pokemon said, this is all assuming the organization's personality, is perfect and doesn't need changing, which isn't always, yes, that is 100% the case. And to relate that idea to Cats and Pokemon, you said you work in an organization, because I'm like, you are really touching on what, even before I get to the discussion, you're touching on what was discussed in class yesterday and in previous weeks, Cats and Pokemon. Do you have a public administration degree or equivalent? I don't know. I have to ask that now. But let me reread your question. That was a good comment, Lacey. This is all assuming the organization's personality is perfect and doesn't need changing. Yeah, which isn't always the case. And as Cats and Pokemon said, and as Uniquely Me is about to say, and my professor said in previous classes and yesterday in my textbook, it all relates back to changing the personality of the employees. Where is that lecture? Where is that notes? I have to find that notes for you guys. I'm gonna make a video on this. That's what I'll probably do. But that all relates back, because even yesterday, he went over different generations. So he went over like the baby boomer generation, the millennials, Gen X, Gen Z. Am I missing one? I think I may be missing a generation. But he went over like, okay, these are historically the various generations that existed in American society, with like until obviously there was more, but like when we look at those generations, those are like the public administration or the official generations that there's data on to say, okay, this is how this group of individuals like to be communicated. This is how they want to be rewarded. And one thing he said, he's like, if you look at the baby boomer generation, they were not rigid, but like they wanted to work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in organizations. They want communication to occur formally only via email on the weekends. Don't text them. They need the structure of an organization. They prefer supervisors who tell them what to do. They prefer that hierarchical style of supervisors. They know directly who to report to, etc. And then when you look at Gen Z generation, like my generation, things like that, he said for our generation, or for my generation, for us, we don't want the 9 to 5 structure job. We're going to get the job done, but as long as we get it done by the deadline, we can get it done anywhere. As long as we're going to do that, we prefer communication that's more casual, things like that. When we're rewarded, we don't want you to give us a piece of paper or a trophy for our reward. Give us like pay for our hotel to go to this conference. That's an example that he used. So when you look at the different generations, relating it back to Cats and Pokemon's comment, like you said, this is assuming that organizations' personality is perfect and it doesn't change. However, depending on what's going to happen, and what my professor said yesterday, which I do agree with, he said what's ultimately going to happen to organizations, since Gen Z, he said my generation is the new workforce employees when nobody's hiring nobody, but that's what he said. He said we're the new generation of workers, essentially, and organizations are either going to have to change their policies to fit with Generation Z workers, or Generation Z workers are going to have to change their expectations of the workforce or their personalities to fit in the workforce, if that makes sense. What should happen? Organizations should change, because I understand the idea of like a rigid structure, but I just feel like you gotta go somewhere every single day from like 9 a.m. to 5. That's boring. Like, you can't just like, where's the flexibility? Where is this? So I understand what he's saying. So like, let's hope organizations change to fit into my generation, where workforce, how you complete your work, where you complete your work, is more flexible in terms of things. Because I mean, I could do a 9 to 5. I did it before. I was a student assistant. That was so boring. I did not like that at all, guys. I was so bored. So on TikTok, a lot of people like me. So let's see if the organizations are going to change their perception. So that relates to the idea. So it's either organizations have to change or employees have to change to fit into the organization, and vice versa. King of the Weather said, I kind of want to go to NYC for a few days. Well, definitely do it if you can and if you can afford it. King of the Weather said, anyway, that's the end of my King of the Weather news report. Okay, nice. Thank you so much for providing that insightful information to us. Captain Pokemon said, I majored in sociology and psychology, so this stuff is interesting to me. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I understand that. I get that now with like the idea how like you're connecting it to it. See, psychology teaches you to critically think and stuff. So guys, we have a fellow psychology person here. I will say psychology is a good degree to get. I mean, personally for me, I can only attest to my experience with psychology. Psychology is very beneficial when you enter the realm of graduate school. Captain Pokemon, if you have a different view, feel free to let us know if you're comfortable doing that. But yeah, for me, I feel like psychology, it's definitely been helpful in realm of grad school. Yes, Kamori is finally awake. Good morning, Kamori. Glad you could wake up today. How are you doing? Okay, what was I doing? Yeah, so that was just a little insight into public administration and the views of diversity also of the workplace. And I think I said I was going to get back to one of the comment that Captain Pokemon said earlier. I forgot in relation to what, but one second. I'm going to tell you in a minute. I forgot my page. So I remember I had 2 ideas I wanted to connect and I forgot it. What is she eating? Not attack the social continuously management of the workplace. Okay, so one idea that I want to tell you guys about, another idea is the concept of social attraction. So when you think about this concept, think about it this way. Have you ever been in a large setting and you go to people who look like you, And this is literally just going on how the person looks. So social attraction theory is saying, theories of diversity is saying, okay, it's important to have a diverse workforce, a diverse group of employees who look different, who believe in different things, but specifically who look different, because it makes employees more comfortable and they're more likely to attract to each other and find social bonds. So this relates back to the concept. Another example I can use for me, once again, first year ever of like RA training. I don't remember half of that year, but like I just know first year ever of RA training, that first week to 2 weeks, big group of people, you don't know anyone. I just remember I was talking to people who look like me. Obviously you're going to go off of like their skin color first off until you get to know people, but like you go and you talk to people who look like you and you ask them questions and they make you feel more comfortable in that setting. Obviously now, I mean, I know other people who don't look like me. So like if I'm in an RA room, I see them, I'll speak to them. But the concept of social attraction, especially for new employees, it's very important to have a diverse workforce because it just makes employees feel more comfortable. Then after, we have the concept of social identity and self-categorization. And This is essentially saying the organizations, they understand that people's backgrounds matters to them. So when we look at this idea, it's saying, okay, perhaps if you hire a group of employees who believe in Islam, you're going to make sure you have a separate prayer room for them, things like that. When we're looking at the theory of information processing theory, it's saying if you hire people who are intellectuals, people who are educated, they generally have better, there's better outcomes for the organizations. And mind you guys, when I say hire people that's educated, I'm speaking about people who are academically educated, people who have a degree. Because as I said in the past, and I'll say it again, guys, for you, just because you have a degree doesn't mean, just because like you have an undergrad degree, master's degree, PhD, law degree, it doesn't mean you're educated on all things. There are people out there in the real world who do not have a degree, but you'll have a conversation with them and you'll feel like the dumbest person next to them because they are intellectually smart. However, they may not have had access to education, or they're not educated smart. So when you look at me, I'm not saying I'm stupid. I'm saying, okay, I am educated in public administration. I'm educated in criminal justice. I'm educated in psychology. I'm educated in criminal justice, okay? Wait, no. I missed something. I'm educated in 4 degrees, okay? Because that's what I'm studying now. So for me, when I look at that concept saying I'm educated in these 4 degrees, if somebody's going to come to me and try to have a debate with me on those 4 degrees, however, they have had no experience or no educational background in studying those degrees, don't come to me and talk about that, okay? Because I'm educated in those degrees. However, because I have that degree and I went through the course of study, but if you haven't done that and you want to have like a debate about it, when you haven't done the same amount of work that I've done for the degrees and researched into it, in my head, you may not be as educated as me on that topic. However, for me, if I'm speaking to somebody who has no degrees, or I'm speaking to an individual, I always use the example of Guyana or like a Caribbean island. If I'm going and there's a carpenter building a house, or I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're just speaking about various stuff that I have no knowledge about, they're intellectually educated more than me about that topic, even though they may not have as many degrees as I have, because I have no experience with that. So being educated and being like intellectually smart sometimes, guys, those are 2 different things. 2 different things. I feel like what we're going to be seeing, unfortunately, with the newer I hope it's not true, but with the newer generation of students, I feel like I'm more so speaking about not elementary school students, but like with the concept, I know based on reading articles, I know the gifs of AI for some people. What I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm very scared for the future generation of students, especially with the world becoming more technological and AI becoming more prominent with students. We're going to see a lot of people getting degrees. They may not be educated, they may not be intellectual. Why? Because of the reliance on technology and all this. I'm not saying for everyone, but like the more reliant people become on technology to use stuff, guys, and the more it becomes associated with the world of academia, there's going to be some concerns that emerge in society. So yeah. Cats and Pokemon said, Cats and Pokemon, what type of cat do you have? King of the Weather said cat food. King of the Weather said she's with me. Cats and Pokemon said, I absolutely do that, even if I just stand there. Oh, you have a long, fluffy-haired white cat. That's cute. Cats and Pokemon said... King of the Weather said, I'm thinking about going to New York and staying there for a few days. King of the Weather said, definitely do it. I saw this woman on TikTok, guys. She literally posted a TikTok video. She's like... And her video was like, I'm in London right now. People think I'm rich. I literally paid $300 for this ticket to get to London, round trip. If I could do that, I would do that too. I mean, just not say, can I do it? Realistically, could I do it? Yes, I could do that realistically. However, will I miss my classes? Yes. Will my mom probably be upset at me? Maybe. So, if you could do it, do it. I always say one day that'll become me. And I'm not exaggerating, okay, guys? One day I'll randomly pop up on your live stream and be like, guys, I'm in this random country. I may be with my mom, I may be without my mom. You don't know. The amount of places I want to go, I might have to start traveling some places where I want to go by myself. Why? Just because I feel like my mom is scared sometimes to do some stuff. But realistically, I can't do that now. But when I'm in a position to do that, best believe that's going to be me. So, King of the Weather, if you want to go to New York for a few days and you can afford to do it and you're motivated to do it, go ahead and do it. Cats and Pokemon said, is there anything you want to do in NYC in particular? Visit Times Square. Watch my King of the Weather if you haven't already. Watch my New York City playlist videos. If you do decide to go there and do that for a few days, go to my YouTube homepage, click playlist, and watch the New York City vlogs. I have a lot of like affordable to free things that you can do in New York City. I consider them to be fun, so definitely watch those videos. Visit the Statue of Liberty. Okay, nice. Maybe you should wait till the summer to do that, because to get to the Statue of Liberty, you gotta take a ferry, and if it's cold in New York right now, it's gonna be cold in that water. So maybe, but if you don't care about the cold, go ahead and do it. I agree with Cats and Pokemon. Those are great places. You want to see Times Square too? Okay, nice. So yeah, guys, definitely watch those New York City vlogs, those New York City videos, so you guys can like plan out affordable to free things that you can do in New York City. Examples of this may be having articulated. how do you describe? This occurs. Let me see what you guys saying. Kayla's in Manhattan. Cat's Pokemon said, all right, it's 9. So I gotta head out soon. Have a great day, me and King of the Weather. Thanks for the positivity boost. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day as well, Cats and Pokemon. And don't stress it. You will do great at your work event today. Remember, stay positive, and you are most knowledgeable about the topics that you are going to be discussing. Only speak about topics that you are most knowledgeable about, cats and Pokemon, and you're going to do great. Have a great day. I hope to see you in the next live stream or the comment section of one of my full-length traditional YouTube videos. For the people who's remaining on the stream, thank you so much for your continued support. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it, even though, I mean, you did acquire some public administration knowledge in there, but for the most part, you're seeing my hands. We're typing it out. Hopefully you guys have an amazing day as well. I do have a statement for you guys. I'm going to tell you the answer in the end. But what do you mean? What? That makes no sense. What do you think it means when this concept is said, or this statement is said? Workplace roles are not given. Workplace roles are given, not chosen. What do you guys think that means? Okay? Workplace roles are given, not chosen. Write your answers in the chat, guys. And I'll tell you, I'm going to type out my ideas on what I know it means based on what, like, yesterday, my interpretations of it. And then I'll see if you guys got close to the answer. And if you don't want to participate, that's okay. It could just be fun. Exercise some brain critical thinking skills. So, guys, what do you think it means when I say workplace roles are given, not chosen, okay? So let me write out these ideas, and then I'll let you know what I think it means, because I have to type this out before I forget my ideas. Okay. Training is needed. Okay, so let us see. The statement that I wanted you guys to deliberate and type your opinions was workplace roles are given, not chosen. So let's see. Stu Lover Kitchen said it means that assignments are assigned to you. No, no, that's true. Like, you just roll this straight out. Okay. That's true. All right. So for me, workplace roles are given, not chosen. It does mean what Stu Lover Kitchen said. It means that assignments are assigned to you, obviously. However, when we look deeper on that, and it relates to your idea, so you're not wrong, Stu Lover Kitchen, you're right. But on a deeper level, this means that, okay, when I apply for jobs, I see the job description, right? I apply for that job description. If I'm accepted to work at that job, there's going to be an internal name for that job, or stigmatization for that job among the people you are serving. So an example for you, I'm a resident assistant. When I applied to be an RA sophomore year, right? Freshman year, I applied to be an RA. I read the job description, tailored my resume, did the interview for that. Okay, I was accepted based on this job description, right? Went through training. Okay, know what to do based on the job description, based on the training. However, when I actually got in the core of my job to serve my residents, to cater to my residents, to them, I'm the campus police. Okay? To them, I'm the campus police, and to my supervisor, I'm the mandatory reporter. So when you look at the idea that workplace roles are given, not chosen, my residents, when they look at me sometimes, they're going to see me, oh, the RA's coming. The RA's coming. We can't do this. We can't speak about this. She's the police. She's going to snitch on us. So to my residents, sometimes I'm probably the snitch. But to my supervisor, I'm a mandatory reporter. But to me, I'm just Unique Lamia, who's executing this job that I was given. This role that I was given. I didn't necessarily choose to be the mandatory reporter. The role was given to me. I didn't necessarily choose to be the campus police to my residents. They gave me that name. So I feel like that's what it means when you look at it in public administration. And it relates to the concept of Stu Lover Kitchen. It means that assignments are assigned to you. But that assignments that are assigned to you, depending on who you're helping, who you're serving, have different names. It's like my mom said, like, anytime my mom and I, we go into a federal building, she's like, the building is so nice. You should work here one day. It's so nice. And then my professor used an example yesterday that got in my head, and it related back to an idea that my mom said. He said when you go to federal buildings, he's like, the buildings are so clean. They look so empty. It looks like nobody's doing anything. He's like, those people in the federal buildings, they look like that because they're actually the best of their best, and they're working really hard, but they're working so hard, they're getting the job done, that when you walk into the federal building, it looks like they're doing nothing, but they're actually working really hard in the back end of things. So that was just an interesting idea. King of the Weather said, Canelo Alvarez is fighting versus Jake Paul. Who do you think will win? I don't know. I know who Jake Paul is, but I don't know who the other one is. The other fighter is. They said most of Jake Paul's fights are rigged anyway, because who did he fight? Didn't he fight like that Mike Tyson guy? I think that's who he is. And they said Mike Tyson was like the best boxer ever. One, why are you fighting a boxer that's like should be retired or shouldn't have to do that fight? And then they said that fight was rigged anyway for Jake Paul to win. So I don't know. I don't know enough about their skill, but like if all the fights are rigged, then I don't know if I want to bet on or guess who's going to win a rigged fight. Stu Lover Kitchen said, you applied for the position, you knew what it enlists, so you also chose that. No, you... Oh my God. So it says workplace roles are given, not chosen. So yes, when I applied to the position, I did apply for the position. I did choose the position to apply to. So when you look at the idea that workplace roles are given, not chosen, yes, you apply for the position, but there's also a lot of underlying other like internal stuff that you're gonna have to do that necessarily wasn't in the job description. So those roles are given to you when they're not in the job description. And then when you look at like the names that people's going to have for you, those roles were given, it wasn't chosen. So yes, when you look at the idea of saying yes, okay, I applied for the role, I applied to be a mandatory reporter, maybe a caveat is there saying, okay, that role was given to me, I did choose to be a mandatory reporter. However, when you look at the idea of saying, okay, my residents are going to view me as a campus police, or want to like not tell me 100% what they're thinking because they think I'm the campus police and going to snitch on them, that role necessarily wasn't chosen because I didn't know my residents would view me as that. When I was applying for an RA my first year, the most I knew about the job, it would be a great resume building job. I would be able to help residents communicate and like get them to resources to help them, things like that. I didn't necessarily know the back end of things, like, okay, they'll view me as a snitch, they'll view me as the campus police. So that idea was given, it wasn't necessarily chosen, it was given to me by my residents. So that's what I mean. So yeah, there is a lot of like underlying concepts, you just have to like do a critical analysis of it to see. But welcome to the stream. If you've just joined, make sure to hit the like button. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Unique Lamia here. Right now I'm typing on my computer, but I'm also giving you guys some public administration knowledge that was learned in class. Sometimes articulating the ideas better helps me understand it, and hopefully you guys learn something along the way, or maybe your ideas in your head can be expanded or solidified depending on how you look at it. King of the Weather said he's Mexican. Okay, cool. And he's undefeated. Wow, okay, very nice. So, hopefully he trained well, and maybe it'll be a good and safe fight. Who do you want to win? King of the Weather. But yeah, I don't really know them much and their skills, so I can't really make a assumption on who's going to win. My knowledge with Jake Paul just knows that he was a YouTuber, and then he went into the field of fighting on live TV, and then he fought Mike Tyson, I think, who was significantly older than him. Why did you do that? And then they said the fight was rigged in the first place. That's all I know. Okay, so you want Canelo to win. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so he's fighting May 3rd, so he has some time to prepare for the fight. should be noted, guys. One of the main ways, or I keep on saying one when it's more than one. I don't know, I keep saying one. But another main way to ensure that like diversity is respected in the workplace, this concept is also going to relate when you travel places, specifically outside of the United States or outside of your country. If you live outside the United States and you're traveling somewhere else, I will say this because I have seen a lot of videos on TikTok too, where we have Americans, they're traveling to other countries that's not the United States, and they're going to that country with their American perspective and their American expectations. It doesn't work out for them in the long run. There's a lot of TikTok videos of people doing that, and it's just like, it's an embarrassment for them when they go there because they're not respecting the culture. This concept results, and it could, it's also important to ensure that this exists in workplace too. Cultural competency. Cultural competency, guys, is the ability to communicate and respect people from different cultures and the ability to assimilate to people in different cultures. So when we're looking at cultural competency in the organization, this is saying, okay, if you do not, if two people do not agree with each other, if you don't like each other in any way, as long as you're able to respect my culture, whether that's respecting me for my my gender, my race, my religion, the way I'm approaching, as long as you're respecting the culture in a way that we can communicate effectively to get the job done, that is most important in cultural competency. When you're looking at traveling abroad outside of the United States, if you're from America and you're traveling to another country, cultural competency is the ability to go into these culture, look at the norms of the culture and saying, okay, I have this perception, but this is how things are done in this culture. It's like I always say, when my mom and I, when we finally go to Dubai, guys, cultural competency will be exhibited. The easiest way that cultural competency is going to be exhibited is in the way we dress. Why? Because that is a very modest culture. Obviously, you'll say, how are you saying it's a modest culture? And if I go on TikTok right now, I'm going to see people wearing bikinis in Dubai. You can do that in certain parts. However, for the most part, just to make sure we're being like cultural competent and we're being respectful. If we're going into a religious temple to see the architecture or learn about the culture, you want to cover your hair when you do those things. If you're going somewhere where you know you'll encounter local people in a very conservative or modest country, you can say, you want to wear clothing that covers your shoulders, covers your knees. That's just you being cultural competent of the culture that you're in. So just be respectful, guys. And yeah, if you want to, I can do a lot more. I can make a full video about cultural competency if you want. I've written an essay about it in undergrad. So yeah, it's just like cultural competency. I feel like it's just one of those terms. It's important because it relates to workplace and it relates to your real life, essentially, because everyone's not going to agree with you or look like you no matter where you are and what you do. So it's just important to know what cultural competency is and how to respect it. And 9 times out of 10, if you engage in cultural competency, it's going to be exhibited back to you as well, because if you're in a different culture, sometimes some places you go, people are just really rude, so you can't exhibit cultural competency. But sometimes when you show respect for a culture, they'll show respect back to you and be more welcoming to you to like experience in their culture, you can say. King of the Weather said, your mom told me you're a bargain shopper. Is that true? Yeah, definitely. It depends on what I'm shopping for, where I'm shopping, and how bad I want the item. But 9 times out of 10, majority of the time, I am a bargain shopper as soon as you own the store, going to the clearance section. However, if I see something, it's not on clearance, I really, really want it, or depending on the type of store you're at and it never goes on clearance and you really, really want it, I may not be a bargain shopper then, but majority of the time, 100%. What about you, King of the Weather? Good morning, Brian. How are you doing today? Glad you can tune in. Yes, like your name. There is another Brian in here. And then this also relates back to an idea I was speaking about earlier. Connecting, when you're in organizations, they want to change your personality. There's 6 main ways they do this that relates to cultural competency. The first one is cultural destruction or destructiveness. And this is the goal to break people away from their culture, according to my professor. In organizations, their goal is to break people away from their culture. And then it comes to cultural incapacity, and this is where they rely on stereotypes for beliefs. You often see this in the criminal justice field, especially like when you're looking at terrible things that has happened between police officers, minority individuals, or just certain criminal justice laws such as like the stop and frisk, broken windows policing, other criminal justice laws that exist, 3 strikes and you're outlaws, things like that. This has mainly resulted because lawmakers and people who proposed those laws, they relied on cultural incapacity. They relied on stereotypical beliefs, on saying, okay, this person, because they look like this, they're going to commit a crime. This person, because they look like this, they're dangerous. That's not valid. You can't do that, guys. That makes no sense. Is not based on any type of research at all. So do not rely on cultural incapacities to make assumptions about people, specifically in the criminal justice world. There's also cultural blindness, and this is saying essentially people not seeing differences among people. That's very dangerous. You do not want to enter a workplace. You do not want to create policies, reforms that is made on cultural blindness, guys, where you do not see differences in people, because seeing differences in people is really, really important. Really is. And that relates to organizations, just daily life, and just to ensure that people are respected, you need to see differences in people. We also have cultural precompetence, and this is where people in organizations, after you complete the previous other steps, you're starting to understand people a lot better. Then we come back to cultural competence, where, okay, we're saying after we did all these different stages, relied on stereotypes, after you broke people away from their culture, after you went through cultural blindness, if you were trained properly, if you created opportunities for yourself to speak to people of different cultures and beliefs and backgrounds, you come back to this cultural competence, where via attending staff meetings, having disagreements with people, we're going to start respecting these people. We're going to start respecting people because they're different than us and they have these different beliefs and assumptions. And then we come to cultural proficiency. Rarely do people ever meet cultural proficiency. And this cultural proficiency, and this is just getting back to psychology. I learned this in psychology too. This is rarely people are going to meet cultural proficiency, because it's saying you 100% assimilated into this culture. You 100% understand this culture, 100% respectful of this culture. You know everything about this culture. Rarely do people meet this stage. The main way people meet this stage is by actually living in this new culture and speaking to people in this culture, adopting similar practices than people of this culture. So yeah. In America, it's really hard to say that there's one form of culture that exists for cultural proficiency, because there's a variety and a diverse group of people in America. So you more so see this cultural proficiency. It's more easily to identify it in collectivist society. If you guys don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, I get tongue-tied sometimes, but that's essentially a culture or society where people are close-knit, they're together. Those are societies where neighbors know each other. You can say maybe arranged marriages still exist in those cultures. People live with their parents until they get married and they moved out. Things like that, where like people are really close knit together in those collectivist societies. You're more likely to see this cultural proficiency pop out more. And then when you get to America, we have more of like an individualistic society. For most people. I mean, I don't know. I want to categorize myself as individualistic. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. But this is more so saying, you don't know your neighbors. I mean, in that aspect, then yes, I am. I'm a mix of both. I feel like, but like, you don't know your neighbors. You're more so independent from your parents sometimes. You move out early, things like that. So it just depends. But yeah, that's the dose of the education I would give you today. I know we did a lot in public administration. I'm going to read up these final comments, and then I'm going to end the stream because my phone has 11%. But I will go live later on because I do have to go to Walmart because I need stuff, guys, okay? I need juice. I need to get some stuff. I might try to buy some stuff to meal prep for next week. I don't know if I'm actually going to do that, but we'll see. So I'm going to go live later on, but once I come off the stream, I'm going to continue working on this study guide. Not for long, because even though I was talking a lot, I feel like I did write a lot. So after the study guide, I'll probably move on to edit in like an essay for another class. But let me read up these final comments that you guys are saying. Brian said, what work you do for a living. I am a graduate student studying public administration and criminal justice. Currently, I also work as resident assistant, and I am a graduate research assistant, essentially meaning that I am like a professor's assistant, Brian. King of the Weather said she is not hiding. She's focusing on her computer. Yes, I am. Thank you for that, King of the Weather. Brian said, then should... Wait, what? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm confused. What do you mean by that? Focus on the computer only. Okay. King of the Weather said, Fernandez. King of the Weather said, okay, sounds good. All right. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning into this live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, it's a pleasure going live for you guys. Please consider hitting that like button, and do consider subscribing to the channel if you are not already a supporter. And if you are a supporter, thank you so much for your continued support. I really, really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys. See you soon. Go watch some of my full-length traditional YouTube videos. If you haven't already, watch my Washington, D.C. Part 1 Philadelphia adventure for spring break. You can learn a lot about American history, some fun facts that you probably didn't know before. And if you did know before, leave a comment and let me know. So go watch the video, guys. It is now posted on my channel. Have a great day, guys. See you soon. Bye.